Okay, so this journalist, Gary Taubes, recently published his book, The Case Against Sugar, and basically he's seen a correlation between populations where they start to eat processed sugar. All of a sudden you get this explosion of obesity and diabetes, and off the back of that he's decided that's also where like cancer, heart disease, Alzheimer's, all these diseases of affluence that Westerners are dying from, that's where this basically stemming from. And he's saying that animal products, you know, with their cholesterol, sat fat, trans fatty acids, they're fine to eat. You know, we can eat as many of them as possible. He's also saying that it's not calories in, calories out for, you know, obesity, fat loss. It's really hormonal response just from eating refined sugar. Now, I'm not saying refined sugar is good for us. Obviously, it's not good for us at all, but he's saying just the one problem is sugar. Animal products are fine, smash those in. Of course, Joe Rogan, being a hunter, he's all over this, so let's pick apart that discussion.
3, 2, 1...
So the podcast was 2 hours, 20 minutes long. Most of it is just Taubes rambling on about how sugar's the one problem. He's just focused there. It's just the same old thing. But where Rogan or Taubes are saying something different, I've just done a little critique. So in this first clip, Rogan's talking about how clever kids are, how switched on they are.
I made my kids watch it, and it's amazing when, you know, a 6-year-old watches something like that, and then they go, "Why is sugar in everything?"
I really don't want it.
Why are you crying? Because that's a turkey. And you don't want to eat animals anymore.
I don't like when people eat apples. I just don't want them to jump them.
I think you're right, Joe. Kids are pretty clued up, which is why we see dozens of kids all over the internet acting like this.
Okay, I was a physics major in college. I was like hard science, and then I wasn't any good at it. Got a C-, and my advisor suggested I find another career.
Failed scientist. Got it.
I mean, goddammit, if you ask the average person on the street, hey, does salt cause high blood pressure? Oh, yeah. They just say it because it's like sort of this peripheral idea. They hear it in the distance. They don't research it. They don't really look into it very far, other than maybe they read something somewhere at one point in time, and then they just decide it's dogma.
Right.
And they repeat it. It's incredibly difficult once an idea like that gets established in our society to eradicate it.
Can't argue with you there, Joe, which is why vegans have to put up with this shit.
Where do you get your protein?
All essential amino acids originate from plants and microbes, and all plant proteins have all essential amino acids. Those eating plant-based diets average about twice the average requirement for protein. The concept that plant protein was inferior to animal protein arose from studies performed on rodents more than a century ago. Scientists found that infant rats don't grow as well on plants, but infant rats don't grow as well on human breast milk either. So does that mean we shouldn't breastfeed our babies? Ridiculous. They're rats. Rat milk has 10 times more protein than human milk because rats grow about 10 times faster than human infants.
Influential, high-ranking, successful man. He's completely convinced that I'm wrong. And I said, but you believe this thing that obesity is caused by eating too much, and you have no idea why you believe it.
Maybe it's because when people eat above their maintenance calories, they put on weight, and when they eat below their maintenance calories, they drop weight.
He's so convinced he's right. So
that's terrifying. That's terrifying when someone has that kind of influence over the American people.
You mean like a podcaster?
I mean, even with your whatever 20 million downloads a month and all your followers,
it's a lot more than that.
Yeah, I have a very bad feeling about this.
But if I'm wrong in the major arguments, I need a new line of work.
You need a new line of work.
Pig fat, cow fat, olive fat paralyzes insulin, increases insulin needs. Carbohydrate, including pure white sugar, increases the sensitivity to insulin. It was published by Brunzell from University of Washington in the New England Journal of Medicine in, I think, 78. Brunzell's his name. He took type 2 diabetics. He made a synthetic diet, 45% sugar, and then doubled white sugar, maltodextrose, plain table sugar, doubled it to 85% white sugar. Every aspect of the diabetes improved. Walter Kempner, back in the 40s and 50s, published his results on treating type 2 diabetics with rice, table sugar, fruit, and juice. And Kempner knew back in the 50s that sugar makes insulin work better and cures diabetics. But you see, we've got it entirely backwards these days, thinking sugar causes diabetes. You know, it's so backward and bizarre, nobody stands a chance.
Incidentally, the guy to the right of McDougall is one Dr. Alan Goldhammer, who runs the True North Clinic, which is where my partner Gemma was for 6 weeks, a couple of years back. While she was there, she saw all sorts of disease reversal and people, you know, dropping weight easily.
You know, there's no way around it. But this is... I lost track. What were we saying? What was the question?
You need cholesterol to form your own opinions, all right?
I lost track. What were we saying? What was the question?
Cholesterol. Don't get enough nutrients.
If you're drinking a big-ass glass of orange juice, you might as well be drinking a Pepsi.
There's a lot of things that happen when you transition to Western diets. For instance, a lot of populations eat more meat. But some populations, like the Inuit, they don't eat more meat because they were eating, or the Native Americans of the Plains Indians, they don't eat more meat because they were living on meat to begin with. But they also get obesity and diabetes epidemics. So I'm willing to rule out meat on that level.
So you're saying that the sugar turns to fat. But the problem is, if you were to do a biopsy of people's body fat, you can actually see exactly the type of fat that people have been eating, whether it was saturated, polyunsaturated, omega-3. You'll see the type of fat that they actually ingested turn up in their body fat. Now, we actually run off of carbohydrates, our species-specific preferred fuel source. Every cell of our body needs glycogen. How about this for an alternative hypothesis? People started eating the sugar, which is extremely calorically dense. Now they're eating in a caloric surplus, and now they're starting to put fat on.
Type 2 diabetes, the common form that associates with excess weight, is it's fundamentally a disorder of what's called insulin resistance. So type 1, your pancreas doesn't secrete enough insulin. Type 2, your body is resistant to the insulin that your pancreas secretes.
Plant-based doctors say that we can combat insulin resistance by cutting out saturated fat from our diets, by getting our body fats down. As the result in intramyocellular lipids, basically fats inside our muscle cells, is what blocks insulin. Does this because it creates toxic breakdown products and free radicals. There are hundreds of doctors now prescribing this nutrition as the only intervention and reversing type 2 diabetes. I've seen it myself in my own clients. One of them was eating a high fruit diet, basically lots of sugar, reversed type 2 diabetes in just a matter of weeks.
You could look at these epidemics, obesity, diabetes, heart disease, cancer, Alzheimer's, dementia, basically as manifestations of insulin resistance happening all around the world. In different ways, in different people, but they're all related to insulin resistance.
Wait a minute. Cancer, heart disease, Alzheimer's are all from insulin resistance.
The cost of obesity and diabetes in the U.S., direct cost of the medical system is estimated as $1 billion a year. $1 billion a day.
You know, you can go ahead and blow your nose, man. It's all right. Don't worry about it. You've been struggling with it for a while.
You know.
Gary's sick because he hasn't had enough sugar, ladies and gentlemen.
Or maybe he's been eating too many dead animals and not enough fruit and veg.
I mean, I don't have the time to do the research that you did. Very few people do. It really takes someone like you.
A failed scientist.
No, it's true, but again, that doesn't mean you're supposed to believe somebody like me. And again, you can't, I'm a journalist.
If only there was a doctor/research scientist with a whole team behind him who could spend every waking hour devoted themselves to finding out exactly what was true.
For those of you unfamiliar with my work, every year I read through every issue of every English language nutrition journal of the world, so busy folks like you don't have to. I then compile the most interesting, most groundbreaking, most practical findings and new videos and articles every day for my nonprofit site, nutritionfacts.org. Everything on the website is free.
I hope I understand what I'm doing. Like I said, if I don't, it's really gonna bad.
This one particular subject, which I think is probably the most important subject today, when in terms of health and wellness and just optimizing your existence, cutting out sugar.
Of course, I agree refined sugar is a problem, but number one, what about animal products?
14 of the 15 leading causes of death have now been scientifically linked to eating animal products. And what's more, plant-based eaters have the lowest risk of developing all of those leading causes of death.
And also mental clarity.
I lost track. What was it?
You need
Here's Joe on his pre-keto diet.
But I ate pastas and I ate bread. I always supplemented with vitamins.
So you ate refined products and artificial vitamins and minerals. No wonder you felt bad.
Yeah, I used to say, I don't take naps, they take me. You know, like an hour after lunch, and I'd be interviewing some Nobel Prize winner, and I'd have to think of an excuse to get off because I was falling asleep doing the interview.
Yeah, 'cause you look full of energy now, man.
That doesn't happen to me anymore.
No, it's fascinating.
It's
but see, that's
unbelievably fascinating. I would never have guessed. I would have thought you needed some sort of a stimulant to keep you going like that.
Yeah. Although, in honesty, we're both drinking bulletproof coffees right now,
Yes.
so we are getting some sort of a stimulant.
We are, but I didn't have to have that.
Oh, no, Joe.
I was still eating pretty clean. Like, I would have dessert every now and then, but it wasn't more than a few times a week.
There are only a few times in the week.
Yeah.
I wasn't eating candy bars during the day, but I was eating the occasional protein bar.
Hashtag healthy.
And now we have this idea that the healthy way to eat is a low-fat diet, and you start making products where you take the fat out of it.
How's this for a paradigm-busting idea? Just eat whole plant foods.
I don't even know if there's lactose in it. I should know this stuff, because then people say, clearly you're not a nutritionist.
You're not kidding.
I'm not the only parent in the family, so my kids aren't tortured by my food beliefs. Would they be healthier if they just ate Snickers bars?
Oh, hell no! Here's Joe Rogan on the health-giving properties of fruit.
20 grams.
20 grams, so it's the same as a Snicker.
So why the fuck are they lying? No added sugar.
Well, it could be because it comes from fruit. That's one
but
of
it's
the
still fucking sugar.
Yeah.
Your body doesn't know that. You're playing a goddamn game.
They're playing a game.
People never take that into consideration, right? If you eat a piece of cheese, you're getting some sugar.
Cheesehead.
Do you drink milk?
No, I actually gave up dairy, but for a different reason, not because for me, it has unfortunate gastrointestinal side effects.
That's because you're not a fucking calf.
Yeah, no,
He's a different kind of
my
human.
former collaborator, Peter Attia, who's his internet handle at one point, I think, was Ketogenic Man, and he used to drink olive oil and cream. Well, because you got to really up the fat content on those diets.
If a species can only get by eating refined products on a particular diet, then it's not the right diet for that particular species.
And also, I take ketogenic supplements. I'll take like exogenous ketones. Like there's a stuff called Ketogenics.
Is there anything that tastes decent?
Yeah, Ketogenics taste really good.
Tastes like goddamn carcinogen water.
How are you feeling when you're about to release this? Are you hesitant? Is this like one thing where you're like, Jesus Christ, am I just... did you have this like incredible desire to like double check, triple check, quadruple check?
No, but I should have.
Well, at least you got one thing right.
So the idea is sugar causes insulin resistance that results in chronic increases in insulin levels. So insulin stimulates fat accumulation, but it also stimulates secretion of it's called insulin-like growth hormone.
IGF-1 levels in humans is not raised by sugar, but it is raised by eating animal products.
Well, that makes sense because don't bodybuilders, like under extreme situations, don't they take insulin in order to gain muscle?
Yeah, because it'll drive muscle development as well. I mean, again, it works as a growth hormone, and IGF is a growth hormone.
So could there be an argument for bodybuilders to consume a diet that's high in sugar? In order to spike up that insulin to...
now you're getting out of my area of expertise.
Whoops, you didn't think that one through, did you, Gary? I know Joe's gone and undone all your bullshit. Of course, if sugar did raise IGF-1 levels, bodybuilders would be eating that shit by the bag. In actual fact, bodybuilders are so against sugar, you'd be hard-pressed to get them to eat a tiny little piece of fruit half the time.
My lower body doesn't work because of cartilage in the knees.
I feel for you, Gary. I used to have a lot of trouble with one of my knees too, with the cartilage. But what you find is when you eat a vegan diet, which is anti-inflammatory, a lot of these problems just go away.
Biodiversity is a very important consideration when you're talking about any kind of diet.
No, Joe. Biodiversity refers to the range of different species on the planet.
Whether it's a vegan diet, a vegetarian diet, ketogenic diet, everybody's body responds differently to different things.
We hear this one a lot, don't we? Oh, we're all different. We all have individual needs for our specific bodies. But the rule of similar states, all animals of a similar species eat in the same way. It's generally a very narrow range of foods. So cats, be they a small domestic cat or a huge great tiger, they eat meat. If something looks like a horse, be it a zebra, donkey, mule, they eat grass and root vegetables. And anthropoid primates, they all eat fruits and vegetables. Anthropoid means human-like, by the way, so we need to eat fruits and vegetables. We do have specific adaptations now that show that we thrive on starches too. More about that in the upcoming movie, The Game Changers, so watch out for that.
So like McDougall puts people on a starch diet, and Atkins puts them on a ketogenic diet, and Ornish puts them on a 10% fat, mostly vegetarian diet, and Esselstyn is, a low-carb diet, and all of them say don't eat sugar, don't drink sodas, don't drink fruit juices, don't eat white bread, and they all do it for the same reason, because it's going to stimulate insulin.
No, they cut it out because they promote whole foods, which are full of all the nutrition we need and are calorically dilute.
You don't know if they benefited because they didn't eat meat, or they didn't eat, gluten, or they didn't eat sugar and white bread, and,
Fair point. How about this then? Where are all your meat-based doctors that are reversing heart disease, cancer, diabetes, Alzheimer's, etc.?
The thing that makes me suspicious is the people always say, I tried Atkins and it didn't work for me. And did they really try it?
I hope not, considering he suffered congestive heart failure. If you've enjoyed this episode, please like and subscribe. Go vegan for victory.